The Buddha was given a simile to a physician based on this Four Noble Truths that he make the diagnosis with the symptoms of suffering, make the diagnosis or the cause of the disease, which is craving, that your mind reaching out with desire, liking and disliking. And then this need to be eradicated. Suffering is to comprehend, just to see. And you prevent it from recurring by getting rid of the cause. And then the treatment to get rid of the cause is by middle path towards the end of suffering. Basically, seeing your mind clearly, not letting your mind reaching outward all the time. So when mindfulness, basically mindfulness guarding the mind, and that's the end of suffering or nirvana. It's a prognosis that you can achieve when you see your mind clearly. As a result, you gain nirvana, attain nirvana, or resume the norm of equanimous mind. So we in the thought all the time. Thought is basically space and time. It's not reality. It's based on your previous memory, and you dream into the past or in the future. Thought and concept always deal with time or kala and tesa, space. They're not pure perception, not sanya parisuddhi. They're nor through direct experiencing, savasang vedana, and it's not mindful awareness, not the lack of sati and sampachanya. It's being conditioned by one's own biased perception, called sanya cetana. Buddhism makes a distinction of conceptual virtual phenomena, that you trap in your thoughts, in the worldly phenomena of like, dislike, gossip or praise, happiness, unhappiness, honor or ruins, as the four pairs, and versus the ultimate reality of mind, mental activities, which are feeling, perception, thought formation, form, and nirvana. These are the four ultimate reality that you observe during your insight meditation. So the ultimate reality that you're actually facing, not in the thoughts, conceptual phenomena. This is why many meditation masters of Buddhism would say, like Luang Por Tien, would state that one sufferer was out of one's own thoughts, even the sneaky thoughts, not in reality. And we in the past, it's already gone. You cannot go back and change that. And future hasn't arrived yet. Why daydreaming, wasting time and energy? It's based on your ignorance or avijja, which are based on this 8 unknowing. Not knowing suffering, not knowing cause of suffering, not knowing the end of suffering, not knowing the path to end suffering. That's not the Four Noble Truths. Not knowing the past, not knowing the future, because you're trapped in your thoughts, not knowing past and future. And not knowing present, which is dependent arising. That thing doesn't exist by itself, it comes from another cause, result in such effect, which in turn becomes the cause of what to follow. So we perceive things to our environment in various opening of spheres or organs, like the eye sees sights, ear sounds, nose smell, tongue taste, body contact with touch, and the mind encounter the thoughts, generating thoughts. Is that enough in this section sphere? The Buddha said, no, you need mind consciousness, or you may term it heart. This is about your mind. Normal mind in the resting state called alaya vijnana, repository consciousness, is not activated yet. Once being activated by sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, thoughts, it will give rise, turn from resting mind or pabanga citta into viti citta. And the 5 gates, which are eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nasal consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, correspond to the perceive, sight, smell, sound, smell, taste, touch, thought, and thought is on the mind consciousness. It can perceive the thoughts, and you can see your thoughts too. through meditation. You can learn to see your thought that way. This is activated mind, interactive mind, or called Vichitita. So it's 18 elements. Each sphere needs 3. Subject, object, and the consciousness, corresponding consciousness. So in terms of perceptual and conceptual processing, that Buddhism make a lot of distinction. The brain processes 400 billion bits per second of information, yet only aware of 2,000 bits per second. So we don't use a lot of them, and no need to use all of them neither. We possess many types of memory. Brain process them in the different ways. Perceptual memory focus on the physical features, such as when you see an object and through your eyes, carried to the visual cortex, visual center in the back of your brain, in the occipital cortex, with the perceptual processing, and then it transfers the impulse into supratemporal gyrus to make distinction that what it is through movement, shape, and color, and position, to tell you this is a lotus flowers or parrots with different colors. And that's a pure perception. It takes only 0.5 to 1% of brain energy. But then you also transfer all those impulse and indulge in the conceptual memory, emphasizing the meaning of it. Like say you see lotus flower, you may want to acquire more to take it to the temple and so on, to give it to the monks, or paying respect to the Buddha with the lotus flowers, because the transmission of those impulses into the frontal cortex, middle and inferior temporal gyrus, and into the thoughts and concept and meaning of what you're gonna do, plan to do, and this requires mindfulness and self-awareness to catch it without being trapped from pure perception into biased perception, from sanya, pure sanya, or sanya parisuddhi, into sanya cetana. You glorify, condition it into your sneaky thoughts. And mindfulness self-awareness can take care, get rid of those problems, which waste a lot of your energy. So this is a pathway that has been described in Buddhism over 2,500 years already. It's called Vichitita. We start, like say you see lotus flowers. It passes through the lens of your eyes and the retina upside down. It transfers the impulse through the optic tract into the visual center in the back of your brain, and kind of regenerate the image from those impulses. In Buddhism, say you left the previous concept that you're exposed to, into Atita Bhavang, into Bhavanka Chalana, is being prompted by the new thing that you encounter, like the lotus flowers. Pankupacheta, let go of the previous object that you saw previously, and then totally indulge in the new image, which transfer to the optic tract, Chakutawa Vachanajit. And this will be transferred to visual cortex through mental, through electrical impulse. And so the Chakku Vinyanajit, it's how to, the eye consciousness come to take care of. It move into Sampatichanajit, transmitted those impulse into superior temporal gyrus. Santirajit would based on the shape, color, and movement and position to tell this is lotus flower, not a parrot. Or Tapanajit would make a decision determining the effect, the value of that, or what is that object, and so on. And then from that point on, your mind will indulge in the 7 mind movement. Chavanajit, that's mean correspond to the area middle and inferior temporal gyrus and frontal lobe, and then it memorizes Tathalampanajita, 2 more mind moments. A total of 17 mind moments thought process. We teach it. It's been described in Buddhism. Then once you indulge in it, you start to commit karma through your action or speech, and rooted in the thoughts. So the biased thought can lead you to karma. But the enlightened one, they see things with unbiased thought, with neutrality, non-dualism. They only act accordingly, called kiriya, without expecting any reward or consequence of what you're doing. It's no longer karma, which you expecting reward and so on. So, as it turned out, the functional MRI scan can have shown that when you see a face which lit up the lower part of your brain, or when you think of a face of your friend, it also lit up. It might not be as intense, that the same area of your brain lit up. Or when you think of a place, you go visit a place. I go to Hawaii on your vacation, it lit up a certain part of your deeper part of your brain there. Or when you just think of your previous vacation, it will lit up in the same area. Isn't that frightening? One of them is ultimate or direct experiencing. The other one is virtual, which is but thinking. Not real, but it can generate